22nd, our first podcast of the new year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Let's see. Well, Monica Andresen has spent 20 plus years in the local San Diego food industry, but she shifted gears 2 years ago when she decided to become the bittersweet side of Bitter Brothers Brewing Company. Join in the conversation as we chat with her today about being a female owner of what is thought to be a pretty masculine industry and how she took the leap from food to beer and the meaningful partnership that Bitter Brothers Brewing Company has with Feeding San Diego. Good morning, Monica.
Hi,
Good morning.
Happy New Year. Really glad to have you here.
Thank you.
It is generally a masculine industry here in San Diego.
It is.
But give us a little history about yourself and of Bitter Brothers, because it says brothers, and then we've got Bittersweet Monica.
And can I just interject
Right, the confusing part? Yes.
When I was saying all this to my boyfriend this morning, he goes, well, if it's a male-dominated industry, and she's one of the few female, why is it called Bitter Brothers? So here we go.
Well, I like to fly under the radar. I don't like all the attention on me, and I'm fine with, the brother side of it. But basically how Bitter Brothers came together was Bill, my other half, obviously, in life and business. He and his brother were originally kind of the face of, or part of the founding of the process and us coming together with the brewing company. Generally,
were you a big beer drinker always, or was this something that you came to love because you were around it all the time because of the history, or 'cause I know you're a big food person.
Yes. I do enjoy beer, definitely. And I was always really focused more on wine originally, more of a wine drinker. And it really did take just getting to learn that food and beer really do go well together. And that was just something that I didn't really understand or know until we got more involved in the brewing industry.
And how did you guys get involved in the first place? Well, let me take a step back.
Sure.
20 years, food industry. What did you do?
Sure. Event designer for Waters Fine Catering. So basically design the events for them, write menus for the clients, and it's just been a big part of that industry.
And Bill was also part of that
20-year
history.
He was, yes. He was a chef at Water, so that's how we met and worked together, and just really enjoyed the food end of everything.
Fantastic. And then I know Bill started to get involved in a project where he was sort of just learning the entire industry. Is that correct?
He worked at Lightning Brewing Company, and that's where he got involved with a group called Cooks Confab.
Ah, yes.
And, so got involved with them and realized there really is something to this craft brewing industry, and kind of had a spark about life again and just like being involved with the brewing industry, realizing there's something to this food and beer. And he started to become, he was retired after that, and we were trying to figure out what he would do with himself, because he didn't do well being semi-retired. He was very grumpy around the house and all that. I'm like, honey, you need a project. You need to engage your mind and hands again. And just talking about it, we're like, well, let's open up a brewery. And I was like, okay. And then backing up, being with Waters Catering for so long, worked for a very independent female owner. And, just the idea of running my own company and learning how to run a business was inspiring to me. So we're like, okay, let's open up a brewery.
Wow.
And now I have to play devil's advocate and ask you, at any point in that thought process, were you going, there's so many breweries already in San Diego. We are the craft beer capital of the world, I believe, not just the country. And did you ever think, oh gosh, another one? It obviously didn't stop you. So was that in the thought process at all?
It definitely was. I mean, we definitely did take that into consideration. But, we like a good challenge. So it's like if you're going to, open up a brewery, it's like you probably could succeed really well anywhere, but it's like here with, the market, it's like, put your head down, make good beer, have good marketing, and just try to, get the word out. And so that was like, if we can succeed and do okay here, then.
Okay.
Right.
And the name?
The Bitter Brothers
Brothers.
comes from.
Tell me.
Bitter Brothers. So Bill and his brother, so they volunteered at Lightning Brewing Company, and they nicknamed them the Bitter Brothers while they were there. And so
Got to be a reason. There has to be a reason.
and then Bill too, with being a chef at Waters, one of his co-workers brought him a label, like a name tag for his knife bag. And it literally said, and Bill's like, oh, okay, thanks. That was nice of you. And handed it to him, and it said, bitter, party of one.
I've used that phrase before.
And if you know Bill, like, he does have that side that's really funny, but also...
He's got a delivery for his humor that is to die for, but you have to really understand who he is to get it.
Ah, okay.
And it's, you would really appreciate it. You would
look forward to meeting him
It's
soon.
quite fun. All right, and then you being a female in this industry, how do you feel about San Diego's market? Because I know we have, not only in just the brewing industry, but in some of the bars and pubs and that sort of. We have some strong females in the San Diego market that really have sort of pushed through some of those barriers. And I know you being a female brewer, or not brewer, sorry.
No.
Business owner.
Business owner.
Right.
Is a little bit different. So have you felt any of this difference really in the San Diego market?
For sure. It's definitely changed. I mean, you're seeing more female brewers in the industry.
Brewsters. They're called Brewsters, yes.
There is a term. Of course there is.
Brewster, of course, yes. Why does it have to be separate? I don't know. But.
And if I'm not mistaken, the president of the Brewers Guild is female. And, you have the Pink Boots Society.
Right.
Yes, I read about that too.
And now what does Pink Boots Society do? Like, are they only brewers, or are they also...
It's females in the brewing industry.
Okay,
right.
so it's as a whole. Okay.
Yeah.
All
They also
right.
have a group called Girls Pint Out.
I've not heard of that.
Yeah, I was reading about that last night too. So
Fun.
very
you
interesting.
do in your
And there was
homework.
only 4% of people, 4% of the industry are brewsters.
Wow.
Only 4%. We need to make that higher. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there definitely is a change, I feel like, with females just in general in the just with attending breweries, for instance. Like, I remember going to different breweries 7-8 years ago with Bill, and there was very few. And now, like, even in our own
It was a
brewery,
guy thing.
It was a guy thing.
Yeah.
And now you see, tables of females, coming together and hanging out and
Right.
seeing the change. And it used to be,
Well,
what
and
do you
fun
have?
events too. Fun events like the Women's
Definitely.
Collective. I know they do like the macrame events and fun things where women all get together
fun.
and do crafts in a
The
brewery.
hop tiaras.
Yes.
Hop tiaras? What does that look like?
So it's fun things like we've all probably seen the yogas and beer thing that you see every once in a while, but it's definitely there's a little bit of a change.
Well, women like beer too. I mean,
They do.
come on. I mean, the palate doesn't just generally go towards
One particular
wine
sex
or one sex exactly. So it makes sense to me. And I, like you said, I think San Diego, there's an openness about the whole beer industry in general because this is where it's at, baby.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that women are able to get into it. And I just think there's room for everybody. I always wonder about. Does it get oversaturated? Just
I think that's a question everybody has in San
right?
Diego.
Because I live in Ocean Beach, which is a little beach enclave in San Diego that if you live outside of here, you don't know it, possibly. But we have 8 tasting rooms just in the last couple of years.
Yes.
So, and one of them actually didn't get approved. It was Little Miss Brewing, and they really had spent a lot of money getting all that together, $100,000 or something like that.
Right.
And then we're not able to get approved to be in there because we are now oversaturated.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that affects you guys. And if you're thinking about doing any, I don't know if they'd call it satellite
tasting room. We are actually. We're looking into that as we speak, and it's true. It's like North Park is saturated. Ocean Beach is now saturated.
Right. Can't get in there,
kind
right.
of seeing what
So you
is
have to
the
see
new, little niche area that's kind of up and coming. And
I've seen Chula Vista kind of popping up on 3rd Avenue.
Yay,
There with
Chula
a
Vista.
bunch of them,
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it is nice because I do think that the brewing industry is able to then provide some additional. Everybody's kind of looking for that next place to be, and
kind
so
of a
it's
hip and happening
yeah,
spot.
yeah, it's bringing up some different locations instead of just those hubs. But
Right.
you are now coming up this month on being a brewery that has succeeded in San Diego for 2 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's actually today's
awesome.
the official 2 years.
Today.
Oh, happy
2nd.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Yay! So 2 years.
Party in the New Year.
It was our soft opening, first official day open.
Nice.
But we celebrate it later on in the month, kind of when our grand opening was.
Got it. So
Right.
let us know what you're doing this year.
So this year on January 20th, we have we're open from basically all day, our normal hours, 12 to 9, and we'll have Mastiff there.
Mastiff Sausage
Mastiff
Company.
Sausage Company
Yum.
will be
We
there.
love Massive Sausage.
We have Family Tart is one of our is a Berliner Weiss, and we fold in different fruit purees. So we're going to have a whole Family Tart bar.
Let our some of our non-beer familiar guests know what is a tart or a Berliner Weiss.
Berliner Weiss, it's basically
it's not the same as a
it's
sour,
not a
right?
sour. It's kind of the segue into a sour. It's just a nice tart German style beer.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. It's like women. It's like when they come in and they're like, "Well, I'm more of a wine drinker," and I'm like, "Well, do you like ciders or kombuchas or that sort of thing?" And that kind of is that segue, and that's kind of the segue beer for them.
Okay.
Okay. Good to know.
And so you guys have the different flavors that you add in seasonally. Is that
Correct.
what it is?
Yeah, every 3 months we release a different flavor, a different variety. And so we'll have those 4 flavors plus cranberry. So we'll have 5 different flavors. We'll have the Family Tart Bar and then just kind of open for festivities. And then on the 21st, we'll have our anniversary dinner.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds
And the
wonderful.
anniversary dinner. Tell us about your anniversary dinner.
We have 5 different chefs coming in that come in and pick a beer and then create a course along with it. And all of our proceeds then go to Feeding San Diego.
Yay.
Yay! And Feeding San Diego was your partner all last year also for each of these quarterly dinners, correct?
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
And then, so with them, I know that you've done quite a bit of work. You were able to donate quite a bit of meals over last year's dinners. And so, how did you come to decide on Feeding San Diego as your mission partner?
Well, with all along from opening up the brewery, we really wanted to just kind of hone in, and educate people that beer and food go really well together. And so we really narrowed in what events we wanted to be a part of. And pairing with the purpose, Feeding San Diego puts on this event, I believe, in April every year. And they had asked us to be involved with that event, and we were paired with a chef. And we really love working the events where you are paired with a chef and they, take the time to tell you what the dish is and you figure out what beer is going to complement it best. And so we did that, and we did Month of a Million Meals.
Oh, okay.
We helped out with that telethon. And we just really
That is
saw
so
what
much
they
fun
were
to watch.
doing.
I love watching that. That is so much fun because they always have the best chefs on there and the characters, of
Right,
course.
right.
Not just chefs, but
No, we
in
don't.
food. But,
We don't have any characters in San Diego.
So that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, so it's just an eye-opener and just seeing what they're doing. We're like, we can really get behind this. And having a brewery is the first time that I've had a platform where you can really make the decision of what you want to do with that and the audience and educate people not only about us and beer and food, but Feeding San Diego. It's just a great organization. So we said, why not? So we have quarterly dinners. Every 3 months we have dinners at our brewery. We have different chefs that we highlight in town. And we like to give back. So people come in and have delicious, wonderful food, and it feels good that you can give back to those that are in need.
So on the 21st, what are the ticket prices for your dinner on the 21st?
$75.
And you have a release happening that day, too.
We do have a release. We have our anniversary beer, Little Sister. It's an Imperial Stout that is has chocolate and
My favorite word.
coconut.
Chocolate. Yeah.
So that's available as well. The release is on the 20th, our
that-
anniversary weekend.
Oh,
Are you able to speak of what chefs are going to be there?
I know that I read on there you have the Lodge at Torrey Pines, who you've done a lot of partnerships with. It's Kyle, and is it right? Is it Wiegand or Weigand? I'm not sure how you
Never know how to pronounce his name. Yes, so Kyle is on board. We also have Tyson from O'Brien's.
Right.
We have
I hear you have Dave and Wait from Wrench and Rodent.
Wrench and Rodent.
We love David.
We're excited about that.
We're really excited
Miguel
about.
Valdez.
Love Miguel too,
Oh,
yes.
he's fantastic. He's fantastic.
Yes.
And,
And then
the pastry chef
from Born and Raised, which is Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh,
so, yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to find out what all these chefs are going to be bringing to the table. I mean, you've got a great lineup, but all your dinners generally have a pretty darn good lineup. I mean,
I think
you guys have some
We've
really
had some
great
great successes in the past.
Yeah.
And beer pairing is such a, I still want to say kind of a new thing. I mean, it's only really the last couple of years. Am I right about that?
that it's really sort of taken off.
Yeah,
in the
you know,
scene, yeah.
I mean, for so many years, I think everybody's in the mindset wine pairing.
Right.
And being the barbecue person that I am, you may have heard, I don't know. But I really would love to do a dinner with pairing beer with barbecue. So we might have to talk about that for a future event because I obviously, you know, you eat barbecue, beer is
A cold beer
wine
with
is
everything.
most likely not going to go with. It could, but you know,
There's
beer.
a challenge for you. All
Well,
right,
that's
there's
true.
a challenge for
That's
you.
true, but I do want to see a beer barbecue pairing thing. Yeah.
And we have a few pretty darn good meat people here in town.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Some great barbecue pit masters and stuff. So,
All right, fantastic. Well, we're really excited for your second year anniversary.
Yes, congratulations.
And I would like to now introduce
Da,
Feeding
da, da, da.
San Diego to you, our guest. Monica, would you like to tell us how you know our guest who's coming in?
we've had her sequestered.
Rochelle. Yes, Rochelle Bianto. We actually met. She used to own a restaurant.
Hi, Rochelle.
Glad to be here.
Farmhouse Cafe.
Oh, Farmhouse Cafe. That's
Farmhouse
right.
Cafe. And Bill and I used to frequent there often, and we just became friends.
More
and
than frequent. They came and saved us. 2 nights before Valentine's Day, I was in trial in LA, and my husband had appendicitis.
Oh, no.
Oh.
And I couldn't get back, and these two showed up and saved us. And ran
Wow.
our kitchen, ran our front, and
Wow.
we felt very, very lucky. Very lucky.
Are you saying you were in trial? Are you a lawyer?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, okay.
You can still like me, though.
She's so used. Lawyers are so used to that. Sorry, okay.
So then, tell us what you can about Feeding San Diego and your involvement with them.
Sure. You know, after we sold our restaurant, my husband, I just adore him, and he's obviously a great chef. Was also part of the confab with Bill, and I like to think of him as the French bitter brother.
he is an honorary.
He is. Those
bitter
two
brother.
together, it's a whole lot. It takes bitter to a level. But,
For sure.
so after we sold the restaurant, I still had such great relationships with restaurants and restaurateurs and chefs, and it was such a natural outgrowth to understand. It's one thing to serve for people that can afford it, but it's another thing to help and serve people that need it. And to realize in San Diego County, we have all the food we need to feed everybody. It's just a matter of orchestrating it and distributing it to people who need it and getting it where it needs to go. So I was enlightened to the cause by the board chair, Gwendolyn Sondheim, who's done a fantastic job spearheading this organization, and got involved in the board level after starting. First year, we did Pairings with a Purpose. And
Which is a great event. That's a lot of fun. Have you been to that one?
No.
This is one you definitely
This is,
have.
and
yeah.
actually, I think it was
is
a
so
really
much
good
fun.
idea.
Oh, cool.
You know, each year we try to think of a theme. Last year it was Baja, and so this year maybe
It was a
we
great
do
year
barbecue.
for it, too. It was a great year.
Yeah.
See, the
Yeah,
barbecue.
Baja.
If
Maybe
they're
do
going to do
barbecue.
barbecue this year, then that's your calling.
We
I
call
love
you
it.
the pit boss.
Oh, there you go.
Just as long as you don't call me anything else weird or
Not on the air.
pit boss. No. Boy, she doesn't even know me yet, but all right, going down the right path.
But it's so that was just indoctrinated me into completely loving what happens and the fact that the organization for every dollar raised can create 4 meals out of it for people in need. I've gone to some of the distribution sites. There's over 225 partners that we capture food that would otherwise go in landfill from retailers, grocery stores, manufacturers, restaurants.
The waste is a huge
It
problem.
is.
Yes.
We have it.
in our-
We
for
could
food
cure.
industry.
There's over 84 million meals needed each year to close the hunger gap.
Wow.
Is that all?
Is that
That's
San
all.
Diego
That's
alone?
San Diego.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And right now, all relief efforts are hitting about 42 million.
Oh
We
gosh,
could do
half
it,
of
though,
where we need to be.
out of all the relief efforts. And we could do it. And we can do it with talented chefs, talented brewers, people with this corporate conscience.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to call you corporate because you're more than that. But
Corporate's such a dirty word.
It's truly just invoking the neighbor within all of us, so that if we all just did a little bit,
partnering
we can,
together.
and with our skill sets, and we all have complementary skill sets, we can do it. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. I would love to be sitting here one day and say, we did it. We closed the meal gap. Let's go have a beer.
Wow.
There you go.
And do you work at all with people who are trying to redistribute food that's already been,
We are
utilized?
Absolutely. We San Diego is a pilot program for Starbucks, and we now have vans that go and pick up any of their prepared food items that are on the best buy date, that are just kind of they're still good. It's still good food, still palatable food. They pick them up every night, and then they go and redistribute it to the homeless camps, to seniors, to veterans, to these churches, to these preset. You can go on the website and you can put in your zip code, and it'll tell you a distribution center around there. And all of that's been food that has been saved.
I
and
love
otherwise
hearing
would go
that.
in the landfill.
That's important to me because, every time you're given sometime an option, which charity would you like to donate to? And there's so many that are so good. Anything with children and animals, I always, go right to. But I think it's sort of ironic when there's an option to feed people. I'm like, we live in this country. Why are there so many people starving, especially children? And I guess there can never be enough organizations that are doing what you do. Would you say that your organization does something different than anybody else?
I think what we do is the partnerships that we do have with the distribution sites is what sets us apart. Our recapture of food that would otherwise go in landfill sets us apart. I mean, Starbucks has now launched this program. We were the test bunny, whatever you want to call it, and so now they're launching that nationwide. Wow! So we aren't the traditional food bank that stores food. We get it when it's out there. We go to the farms. We go to the markets. We go to
so the ugly fruits, all of the stuff that
and still very edible. Yeah.
Over half of the food that's distributed is all fresh produce. So that also sets us apart because there's such a focus on health, and they're doing a lot of diabetic studies and trying to have an impact because that raises healthcare costs.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we can get these people healthier and eating more nutritiously, and just be there for somebody in need. Some people who've taken a dive since the recession, and now they have a chance to, feel like they're cared for in the community.
Love that.
What's tough for me is when I've seen that the children go hungry, or they come to school and they don't have a meal option. And so the only meal option sometimes these children have are going to school and having, the milk and the breakfast that, that the state will provide in some school districts, but not all. And then they go home to a hungry household where everybody in the household doesn't necessarily have anything.
It's amazing in San Diego, 1 in 8 people are struggling with hunger. 1 in 5 are children.
Those kind of stats just blow me away in the richest country in the world. It's just not right. It shouldn't be. And how have we gotten to that point?
And then you break it down to California being the 5th largest economy on the planet.
Right.
There you go.
We really have no excuse for having anyone.
Right. I mean, we have Evangelina, a friend of mine, just joined, and she was saying what a great organization that is, and she's right. We need more like that. Jack Monaco does say hello, Monica. So say hi back to Jack. So I really cannot stress enough how important it is to contribute towards these organizations. Yeah. And so many people who are struggling themselves, like, God, I wish I could contribute. $5 sometimes. You can't believe that many people donate $5. It all goes somewhere into that organization to help feed people. So don't ever think, I don't have hundreds to donate. I can't, So I beseech you to just always keep that in your mind that it's a cliche, but every little bit does help.
Yeah.
And
that's 25 meals.
It is 25 meals. And it's amazing because
25 meals.
What costs the money is we have the food. But we have to distribute it.
Right.
So it's the transportation hauling costs. And that's where the organization uses the money and uses it extraordinarily effectively.
And that means you need volunteers always.
There's 16,000 volunteers a year, yes. People show up. It's an amazing volunteer
just here?
program.
Just in San Diego.
They're outside the door. Just kidding.
They're all
Oh my gosh, I
in.
hear them knocking. Holy moly.
No,
Wow.
it's beautiful. There's a lot of corporate building events that they do. Anybody's welcome to come. There's signups on the website where you can go in and volunteer. It's a beautiful program. But there is also still the needs for funds. So
Yeah,
we're always,
always.
yeah, as usual. But
Right.
it's a wonderful thing. And I think, again, the symmetry and connectivity between small business owners, chefs,
Right.
brewers, and creating that culture where we're bigger than ourselves, and we can be. There's things that are bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely.
And this kind of cause is. And so when it's so natural, it checks every box. Good friends, good food, good beer.
Some of my favorite combinations, right? Yum.
I've got nothing that conflicts with that.
Yeah,
within
right.
my own ethos. Now, as far as what's happening with Feeding San Diego, we know that Bitter Brothers and Feeding San Diego will be joining each other in the fundraiser on the 21st for their second year anniversary. What else is happening in Feeding San Diego we can look forward to or that they would like help with?
Well, what is coming up is there's going to be a Valentine's Day program that's coming up. But the main thing that usually grows gray hairs for me, but it's still so fun, is the pairings event, which is usually we try to get it on tax day to see that last
all right.
deduction.
Oh, there you go.
I'm very happy to announce this year that this is going to be a completely local chef-only event.
Okay.
And I'm going to be pulling Monica. She doesn't know it yet, but to help
Oh, she's
me.
being pulled already.
And also Trey Fauché. He's going to be
fantastic. We
helping
love Trey.
and working with him because we'd like to work with him from a chef's perspective to see, what kind of theme would work well. How do we want to reach out to people? How do we help get the message to the culinary community?
Fantastic.
Well, we have another question here. Stephen Marchese, who I kind of know him a little bit. It's my boyfriend.
Oh.
But he said California is a major supplier of fruits and vegetables for the entire country. Why isn't even a small percentage earmarked for the poor?
I can't speak to their business model, but I can say that any unperfect fruit, vegetables, we're there, and we
Okay.
will pick it up. We've got the contacts, and that's also a nice thing about Feeding San Diego is it is networked with the national Feeding America group. So any networks and connections they have to say, hey, there's produce over here, there's some produce over here, they're working together.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So if any either farm groups or any volunteers would like to get more information, what is the website for Feeding?
That is feedingsandiego.org.
Okay, very simple.
That is good. Yes,
That's
keep
good.
it simple, right?
So they can go on there and they can find volunteer opportunities
Absolutely.
there and
Absolutely.
ways that they can help.
There's lots of information on that website.
Okay,
Exactly.
fantastic. And well, we hope that the both of you have a really wonderful second anniversary.
Yes,
and
congratulations
also
again.
Can I do one shout out to Tommy Gomes?
Absolutely.
Tommy Gomes. Tommy Gomes.
Not to anybody but
Tommy
Tommy.
Gomes. No,
gosh.
Tommy does not get any love here. No, absolutely not.
We went to our very first goals game last year, and
you?
out of the entire stadium, I see Tommy wearing a number 1. Does that say fishmonger?
It does.
Yes.
The personalized goals
Right.
jersey
So
is-
Feeding San Diego on January 13th. If you buy a ticket to the goals game through Feeding San Diego's website, it will get $5. Pardon me. Of the ticket sales will go to Feeding
Oh.
San Diego.
Fantastic.
Oh, I will
That's
definitely do that.
wonderful.
I'm a big hockey fan.
Counting on you, Tommy.
There you go.
Again,
Now I'm a big fan of yours too. So yeah, definitely do that.
come
people.
see a goals game.
Yeah,
and help,
yeah.
help a good cause.
If you haven't, it's wonderful. And then on top of it, your money goes to a great thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you both for being with us. We're so excited about this coming year, and thanks for being on
Pleasure.
our
Thank
first
you.
Yes,
podcast.
thank you,
of
Thank you
ladies.
for
2016.
helping us promote our message. 'Cause
Oh, absolutely.
this is the best produce market everywhere.
It is.
Especially produce is amazing.
Our
yeah.
restaurant it's exclusively dealt with specialties, so we are
We're
so
really
grateful.
lucky to have such great partners and purveyors here in San
Yeah,
Diego.
we are.
I mean, we have the ability to have the fresh food. We have the ability to have organizations like Feeding San Diego with partnerships from people like Bitter Brothers and a lot of other different organizations that understand how important this is. And so we're really glad that we get to share that on hand to mouth.
Right. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, thank
Yeah.
you guys so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And if you need any question, or if you have any questions later, go ahead and leave us a little something, guests, on our Hand to Mouth podcast.
Yeah, we'll still answer it.
Yeah, we'll answer it. We'll get the answers for you or direct you where you need to be. And join us in another couple weeks. We've got some surprise guests coming up that we will announce very, very shortly.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
great
you.
week, everybody. And
Bye,
Happy
everybody.
New Year.
Happy New Year. That's it for this week's show. Remember to follow us on our Facebook page and Instagram stories to keep up with Hand to Mouth between shows. Use hashtag HandToMouthShow to share what deliciousness you're up to, and maybe you'll be our post of the week.
And a big thank you to the folks at Specialty Produce Network for producing our show from their studio in San Diego, California. Until next time, thanks for listening to Hand to Mouth.